Hello, good morning. My name is Linksy, and welcome to my weapon guide. In this video, I'll be going over a beginner combo with every single weapon in the game, as well as introducing you to the special mechanics for each weapon. This guide is aimed at new players, and the hope is that you'll understand more of what each weapon is capable of, and you'll have a simple combo you should be able to execute within just a couple of tries. Keep in mind this is an introductory video, so I'm not going to be teaching you how to heaven step or expect you to put hours into the lab to learn the things in this video. It should be pretty straightforward, and if you want to go further, there's other videos out there, and I will, in the future, be releasing a little guide for every weapon that can take you a step further. With that out of the way, let's begin. Alright, so we're just going to do a little bit on terminology here. So H is for horizontal. If you're on console and you see older videos that say left mouse button and right mouse button, left mouse button is horizontal, right mouse button is vertical, V is vertical. J is for jumping, C is for crouching, D is for dodge, SH is for short hop, and a brackets around it means that it's a hold, and this tilde is for delay. It might also be DE for delay. So these can combine, so you can have J.H for jumping horizontal, C.V for crouching vertical, which is also known as uppercut, which is a key combo component. And like I said, if you have brackets around the dodge, it's a hold dodge. You'd have brackets around a V. It could be a focus vertical, a charged vertical, etc. And as you start to see these more in practice, they're going to make a lot more sense. If you're seeing stuff that doesn't make sense, almost always in the video description, people post their own combo notation, or they'll have a video on their channel saying what they do, or you can just ask. The first question you might be asking is, do I even need combos? All that terminology stuff already looks complicated. And the short answer is no, you don't need combos to win games. There are even times where going for a combo can be a bad thing, such as if you end up dropping that combo too early and it could give you less damage or put you in a bad spot, or if your opponent has a combo breaker and you go for a combo and they use the combo breaker to reverse the situation on you, or if you go for a combo and somebody runs up and interrupts you in the middle of it and does a ton of damage. So you don't actually need combos, but the long answer to this question is yes, in my opinion. If you want to become good at Naraka, you need to learn combos. Here's some of why. The first is that you have to outplay your opponents less. So if you imagine that you're on an even skill level with somebody, how would you win that fight? Well, if you have better gear, if you have a golden katana and they have a gray katana, you're probably going to win because you do more damage. Same is true for combos. If you're on an even skill level with somebody, but you have a better combo game, it's only going to take you between 2 and 5 positive interactions to kill them, whereas if they don't have combos, it can take a lot more. Once you finish a combo, you're not done. Once you finish a combo, almost every single one, especially the ones that I'm going to show you in this video, puts you in a positive situation where you can continue pressure. In fighting games, this is known as okezeme, when you knock your opponent down and then you get to do something while they stand up. Same basic concept in Naraka. Once the combo's done, your pressure is not done. Nice thing is that they look cool. It's worth learning some combos just for style, so you can post a clip on Twitter or whatever website replaces Twitter. And the other thing that I find helps me a lot is your mental state. So when you're comboing somebody, a lot of times you're going to be thinking, I am so sick, I'm doing good. Especially if the fight was going bad before, it can turn you around and start to make you think, I can do this, I can beat this person, I have it. And on the flip side, the person getting comboed, some people, it breaks their mental state. I have seen a fight where I'm totally losing, and then I land a big combo on somebody, and they literally just give up. They literally just stand there when it's done. So it can be really good for your mental state, especially when you get combos down to muscle memory, because you'll just do the combo without thinking about it, and that'll let your brain start thinking about the other things in the fight and start being like, okay, I have time to realize now that this guy is doing these things. So the basic concept for advanced combos in Naraka is that you want to do something into an uppercut. Again, uppercuts are crouching verticals. And what you do after the uppercut is weapon specific, but every weapon in the game so far can just do a vertical right after, so you get jumping vertical. That's like your plunge attack. It'll take them down into the ground with you. So if you're panicking, you can just cash out with that. From that core concept, I've just gone ahead and grouped all the weapons into 3 categories: horizontal starters, vertical starters, and situational. Horizontal starters include the katana, both of the dualies, the nunchucks, the spear and staff. Vertical starters at the moment is only the longsword, and then the situational weapons are the dagger, the polesword, and the greatsword. So horizontal starters all mean if you do a horizontal, you can get an uppercut off that. All the vertical starters, just the longsword, can do vertical into crouching vertical for a combo. And the situational weapons require something else to get a combo started, or in the case of the Polesword and Greatsword, you can only get a combo off of a raw uppercut, usually. So with all of that explained, we're going to get into the actual meat and bones of this guide. So I'm going to cover all the horizontal starters first. I'll give you a bit of a rundown of their mechanics for those of you that don't know them, and I'll also give you a beginner combo that should be pretty easy to learn. So we'll get into it. So just a couple things about the training mode before we get started. You can just grab your weapons over there at the Rift Dealer. If you want to make sure your combos are true, you need to open the training ground settings and take it over 4 to the left for combos training and turn the bot on, and then he will dodge out of things so that you can make sure that your combos are legit. Alright, so we're going to kick things off with my personal favorite weapon, the Katana. Its special mechanic is very simple. After your charge attack, you can do a follow-up charge attack with either horizontal or vertical. The vertical one can hit off the ground and can catch jumps, but the horizontal ones covers more area, so you got that trade-off as per usual. And neither of these are super safe to just throw out because they can be read pretty easily and sometimes parried on reaction. But you can also just use them if you want to reposition. You can just dash back and you'll have blue focus for it, so it's kind of safe for a repositioning tool. But also, don't forget, you can mix people up with pretty much anything, so it is a mix-up in your arsenal. The combo, with notation on screen, is just horizontal, crouching vertical, horizontal, vertical. And when you do it like that, you kind of want that vertical to stick them down to the ground. And then once you've done that, you can go for a 1-2-3 if you're feeling it, or you can just start holding a charge attack and just do the normal kind of mix-ups. And that'll be that for the Katana. So the next weapons we're going to talk about are the dualies, both the dual blades and the dual halberds. So these are the first co-generic weapons we're going to talk about, and what that means is they have the same standard moveset. And you can switch between them for a hammer, which just costs 500 Tay at a Rift Dealer. You just have the weapon on and use the hammer, and it'll switch between them. They have different soul jades and different charge attacks, which is what really separates them, but their standard combo is the same. They also have 2 special mechanics, one of which isn't really laid out for you. So the first one is that you can run around while charging your horizontal focus, and you can just let that go whenever you want. The next one is that they all have follow-ups to their focus attacks, and this is more evident with the dual blades, but if you do a charge horizontal, you can follow up with another focus attack, or I mashed a little too hard and you just kept going. Or you can follow up with a light attack. And that light attack actually combos into an uppercut too, so you can just do your standard combo after that if you hit that. So this means your pressure doesn't end when you land a focus attack, you actually get to keep going with pressure. And in general, if you're going to go for the focus attack, try to make sure it's the vertical, because this is much less reactable, whereas the horizontal's focus attack follow-up is a multi-hit and is just slightly more reactable. With the dual halberds, you have the same concept, but your horizontal will give you the follow-up blue focus with the vertical, whereas your vertical is the standard attack. And when you do the horizontal, you get this automatic air combo launcher. And when you do that, it can sometimes combo into the vertical, which is another focus attack, which it just did right there. Or you can try to go for one of those, but it doesn't really hit. So most of the time, you're just going to want to go for the vertical unless you're scared you're going to get parried, because it also puts you back down on the ground, and you have more options from the ground. So as I said before, these weapons have the same moveset, so they also have the same combo, and it just looks like this. Horizontal, crouching vertical, jump, horizontal, vertical. And the key to this is you want to make sure you get a short hop, and that's just tapping the jump button. You can see it looks like this, whereas a full hop or a normal jump is just if you hold it down, it looks like this. Because if you do the full, you'll be too high in the air to catch them. The other key is that you want to do the jump pretty much as soon as you hit the ground and go for it, because if you delay it, then the last hit's not going to be true because they're going to completely fall to the ground. Now, if this combo is a little bit too hard, there's also this even easier combo, but it doesn't really give you good pressure after, and it's this. Notation is on screen. You see it sends them flying away. It's kind of funny. If you want to send somebody flying away, that's a combo you can do. But in general, the other one's better because it gives you just better pressure. And that'll be that for the dualies. The next weapon we're going to talk about are the Nunchucks. So these weapons have solid multi-hits that can be really good at tracking dodges, in addition to their meter mechanic. Normally, to build this meter, you have to take damage, but you can also have a Soul Jade Dragon's Roar. If you get this in game, I highly recommend running the Nunchucks because it makes them really strong. And what you can spend this meter on are two different things: Horizontal Block and Dragon's Flurry. So, for Horizontal Block, it means that if you're charging a horizontal, you'll automatically block that, and you can do this blue follow-up attack. Now, the problem is that that follow-up attack is actually not guaranteed and is a blue focus, so you can get punished for that. So do keep that in mind while you're using your nunchucks. The other mechanic for the nunchucks is Dragon's Flurry. So how you do this is you fully charge a vertical. And when you fully charge that vertical, you can just mash after it and it'll give you this awesome auto combo. Which does over 1,000 damage by itself. It's quite good. But a key thing to note about this is that you can be parried, because you're obviously going for a full charge, and then, you know, your opponent is expecting you to go for that full charge because they're expecting you to go for a Dragon Flurry. But what makes the nunchucks also so good is you can intentionally miss and come back with the gold focus. You see the gold focus combo there was really short compared to the first one. That's because I ran out of meter. So you do got to keep an eye on that meter gauge for how much value you're going to get out of your Dragon's Flurry. But that's both the special mechanics for the nunchucks. Now we can move on to the Nunchucks Combo, and I've got good news for you. It's actually the optimal Nunchucks Combo that's not terrain dependent. So the combo that works literally pretty much everywhere. And it looks like this. And you'll notice I have that squiggly line, the tilde for delay, and the reason for that is it puts you directly on top of them when you finish the combo. If you just go as fast as you can, pretty much it looks like this. And you see it sends them further away. So that delay just ensures that you get the full hit of the jumping vertical and also ensures that you're going to be on top of him so you can continue your pressure better. And that will be that for the nunchucks. These weapons are co-generics. This means the same things as the dualies, that you can switch between them for 500 Tay and a hammer, and that they have the same grounded moveset. But they do have some differing soul jades, differing charge attacks, and they have slightly differing mechanics. Their special mechanic is a special blue focus attack, and how this works is you need to let go with, not in reaction to, not after, but with the second ding for either of these weapons, so you can hear here. So you want to do it with it. And you get this stab, whereas if I do it too late, I just get the normal swipes. So the spear special mechanic is Dragon Slayer. If you hit that attack, you can mash for a big gold focus follow-up. It's pretty simple, it just looks like this. If you keep mashing, you can end up getting a blue horizontal after or a normal vertical after. So I recommend in general that you mash vertical when you're going for a Dragon Slayer, because you're less likely to accidentally do something that will get you parried if you mash too hard. Also, if you land the vertical, it's not a true combo, but you can go for an uppercut, and that will catch some people and give you a ton more damage off your already big damage. Now the staff's special mechanic is Cloudwalker. You activate it in the same way, where you release with the second ding, and then you get like this. If you go for a horizontal, you get a Scale Rush attack, which combos into an uppercut, so you can get a full conversion off of that. Or you can go for the vertical. And the vertical is a blue focus, and if you mash, it gives you a gold focus follow-ups to that. That was an extra vertical at the end there. And the bonus for the vertical follow-up is, if you hit them, you get a longer combo if you hit them with the actual Cloudwalker, and it's 100% true. So that's the staff special mechanic. On to the combos for these weapons, and again, because they're co-generics, it's the same combo. It looks like this. And the key to this is just to make sure you get jumping horizontal, you don't touch the ground first, and to make sure you're doing a short hop, not a full hop, and just to show you that it also works with the staff. And there you have it. So on to the Longsword. This weapon's mechanic is pretty simple. It's just that if you do a charge attack, it'll shoot up this beam, horizontal and vertical, sending beams that are horizontal and vertical. That can still be parried and sent back at you, but at like absolute max range, it is really hard to actually get the parry follow-up. But don't really bank on that unless you're really getting good at spacing with the longsword. In general, it's just a really solid weapon, and it has a lot more combo depth than what you're about to see, including toothpicking. But this is just your basic combo. And just make sure you're holding forward at least during the jumping horizontal and jumping vertical, so that the aim assist will help you follow the target and pin him down to the ground. And you should be good to go. It's not a complicated weapon, it's not a complicated combo, but it is really good, and there's a lot of depth if you want to check it out more in the future. And that's it for the longsword. So the dagger is the next weapon to talk about, and it's in the specialized category because neither the horizontal or vertical will just combo into an uppercut. You can catch people with that, but it's not true, so players that know what they're doing or are just mashing will get out of it. And the dagger's special mechanic is called Dagger Dash. So whenever you attack, you can dodge right away, and it's this bigger, better dodge than you would see with a normal weapon. And in addition to that, you can cancel that dodge. So if you cancel it with a horizontal, you get Soul Break, which is a blue focus. And you can cancel with vertical, and you get this little poke move. So you can even mix people up when you're dodging around and you're just clanking with people. In addition to clanking with people, the dagger clanks unconventionally. It won't put you in the same situations. You kind of just have more mobility and freedom after a clank. It's called dismount, I believe is what they call it. And you'll just kind of notice that when you're playing the dagger, that you just have more freedom when you clash. And in addition to all that, the dagger is one of the weapons with a different focus attack, where if you do your vertical, you get this purple stab, which means you just have better armor and you can beat out some blues sometimes, but don't really, like, you're not going to be beating out a blue as in if you're both active at the same time. You will clash. That just means that you're not going to get knocked out of it as easily. So the first dagger combo is off charged horizontal, and it looks like this. Now, in this case, I did vertical because it does slightly more damage, but generally, like I have notated on screen, you're going to want to go for horizontal, because the move you're hitting when you go for vertical is this stab, and when you go for horizontal, you're hitting this kick. And the kick covers a larger area, so you don't have to space and aim very well, and you'll still hit the kick, and it's barely more damage to hit the vertical. It's just something you can optimize once you're more used to the dagger. And the other combo, if you manage to hit a raw uppercut, here's a basic combo for you. And this is pretty simple. You just have to hold forward and click it out. If you find yourself getting a parry, it's because you're just pressing the buttons too fast. So just slow down. What I like to do a lot of the time with combos like this is just react to the noise of hitting them or the damage numbers popping up. If you're visual or audio, it's up to you. And just input them after. They're pretty lenient. You don't have to mash super hard. Just hold forward. And that is that for the dagger. On to the last pair of weapons, the Greatsword and the Polesword. These are co-generics, so they have identical grounded movesets and similar mechanics. You can swap between them with a hammer, which costs 500k at a Rift dealer. And like the dagger, they do not combo into uppercut off horizontal or vertical. But unlike the dagger, they do not have high mobility and alternative combo starters to make up for this. Instead, they just have insanely high damage. Both weapons have charge attacks you can move while charging. The Greatsword's is horizontal, and the Polesword's is vertical. Now both these are tons of damage, and they are great for party crashing, for peeling allies and extending friendly combos, and also just for killing because they do so much damage. But they are big multi-hits, so if your opponent dodges the first one, they might come back in with a jump parry and blow you up for the multi-hits. So you do have to be careful with these, but the reward for landing them at full charge is really high. These weapons are also kind of known for being noob killers because they will destroy you very quickly for just a couple mistakes, maybe even one. If you mash into Stoneform, you can eat a fully charged huge damage attack. So you just need to be aware of what Stoneform is and does. Alright, so what is Stoneform? Well, Stoneform is this. And you see I let out that big blue, but it wasn't guaranteed. But whenever you clash with a Greatsword or with a Polesword, it can start charging up a blue focus attack if the player is mashing, which I have just been mashing every time I've clashed with him. And it'll let it out as soon as there's a gap in the pressure. Now, if your opponent goes for a 1-2-3 or just a 1-2 in the case of the Greatsword and Polesword, you will end up getting a blue focus clash, and Stoneform will keep going. If your opponent does anything else, it can let the blue focus out. Now, you don't obviously have to commit to a parryable move. You can jump, crouch, or dodge out of Stoneform to not do it. And if you are very precise with how long you hold down the attack button, you will just naturally let go of the Stoneform, which I am not very good at doing, as you can see there. So the key to Stoneform when you are the Greatsword user is to try to read your opponent and think if they're going to parry, you can pretty much just go into an uppercut because you can crouch cancel your Stoneform. If they're going to try to dodge, maybe you try to dodge follow them, maybe you try to get a jumping button. So that's how it works. If you do manage to land a raw uppercut with either of these weapons, you do get a combo. And here's what it looks like. So it's simple uppercut, jumping horizontal, jumping vertical. Sounds really easy, but unfortunately, depending on your ping, you're going to get different uppercut heights, and you might have to delay your jumping horizontal slightly. And sometimes the jumping vertical won't track. So you need to make sure you're holding forward so that you'll magnet to them, as you could just see from what I just did right there. That's pretty much it, is just maybe delay your jumping horizontal and make sure you're holding forward as pretty much through the whole combo so that you'll actually get tracking. And if those combos just aren't working on either of these weapons, you can just do uppercut into either button. And uppercut vertical is slightly more damage if I remember correctly, but both work. And if you get in the habit of going for the horizontal one, that'll pave the way to the more advanced, better damage Greatsword combo. But in general, you can just go for uppercut, jumping horizontal, jumping vertical. So we're going to show you a little bonus section here for unarmed. If you have sheath your weapon bound, you can get to unarmed whenever you want, but I wouldn't really recommend it because it's pretty bad. Off of a normal horizontal, you get horizontal. Off of a running or sliding horizontal, you get horizontal. Off of a vertical, you get literally nothing, but you can crouch cancel your horizontal, your verticals, that is, to get them out faster, but even then, it's not very good. The next actually useful thing you kind of have is if you have stationary or walking horizontal, you get this knockdown kick, which can buy you enough time to go pick up your weapon. But the real meat and potatoes, the real actually almost okay thing about unarmed, is that you can charge up your vertical strikes, and your vertical strikes cannot be parried because you're not holding the weapon. This sounds kind of broken, but you do so little damage, and you can't even parry yourself, and your opponent can probably time you really well because there isn't much of a window to overcharge these. They kind of just go off when they're ready. But if you're in a situation where all you have is your fists, hopefully now you at least know some of your options. But in general, if you want to look for one of those hard knockdown moves, use a lot of charging vertical, and go pick up your weapon or start running away. There you have it. That's the mechanics and a beginner combo for every single weapon in Naraka. Hopefully this will help you on your journey learning the game. I highly recommend you stick with the weapons you like and learn advanced combos with them, because the ones in this video are really just scratching the surface. And you can just 1-2 and mix people to death. But isn't it so much better to just kill them instead? Yeah, I think it's better to just kill them instead. My name is Linksy, and this is the first guide I'm going to be posting on YouTube. If you want to see more content like this, I think you know what to do. If you enjoyed it, I also think you know what to do. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.